Thank you, Bharadwaj, for putting this together. And a very good morning to all our students who joined us and the guests. Particularly thankful to the industry leaders and our alumni who are part of this interaction. And we're going to take a look at, what are the opportunities after graduation in aerospace engineering. To that end, I think it gives me an opportunity to take a quick couple of minutes to give you a brief background on this event, which is jointly a collaboration between the Directorate of External Relations, DoER, at GTAM, which is a new strategic initiative, and I'll talk about that a bit. And I'll invite Professor Ravi to, share a little bit about the other co-host on this initiative, which is the Department of Aerospace Engineering. And a very, very warm welcome to all our student friends who've joined us here. I'm sure that this talk will be a great learning opportunity. We've invited RAJESH JAGTAP ji, who's a senior industry leader, to join us and share his insights with you all. I'm sure you'll gain a lot from that. Along with that, we have two of our very own GTAM Aerospace Engineering alumni with us. We have Sweta Dwivedi. She's from the 2015 batch, spent close to 6-7 years in industry, and she's of course now again back in academia. So we'll hear from her as well. And we have Uday, who's from the 2021 batch, and also, pursuing a master's in the US right now. So that's the panel of external industry leaders and alumni that we've put together for this interaction. Before that, let me give you a brief background of this initiative that this event is a part of. So the Directorate of External Relations is a new strategic initiative at GTAM University. As you all know, and to our audience who is going to later see this on YouTube and later on our handles as we upload it, GTAM has set very ambitious sights on trying to break into the top global 100 universities by the year 2040. So it's a very large, ambitious vision that our leadership has articulated for us. And in order to make that happen, this is going to be an initiative that requires not evolutionary and incremental, but drastic and revolutionary changes. And one of the ways in which that will happen, we feel, is by appending the very way in which we interact with 4 key external stakeholders. We have articulated these 4 at the Directorate of External Relations as part of GTAM Strategic Initiative as alumni. They are a very key stakeholder in the success of our university on a long-term basis. Corporate leaders, they form the second key external stakeholders. Our third key external stakeholder, being a university that is focused on being perceived as a top research institute, would be research and institutional partners. And the fourth would be other universities, reputed universities globally with whom we would like to build linkages. And to that end, we planned a large number of departmental talks, which will tap into experts from these 4 categories. And precisely such an event is what's happening here. And my absolute thanks to the Department of Aerospace Engineering, the student coordinators who put this together, Bharadwaj team, Professor Satya Prasad, Professor Ravi, Dr. Anand, the HOD of Aerospace, all the faculty members who've put in a lot of effort in kicking off this small event, which is the first of many, many more such events to come. So with that brief introduction, I request Professor Ravi to give a brief backgrounder on the Aerospace Engineering Department, and then we'll kick off with our session. Sir, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Bhattacharya. It's a great introduction, and I'm very happy to listen to that. Aerospace is leading this particular event, so glad to know that. And thanks to Bharadwaj also, who is basically leading all this effort. And thanks to you for coordinating all this event. Before I talk about the department, I want to say special thanks to Rajesh, who gladly accepted my invitation to join this event and then give options or talk about the opportunities with the students. Let's thank you, Rajesh, very much for your help. And of course, the other alumni. have not interacted with you people, but it's glad that you're part of this team and then help your juniors to motivate them, especially stick to aerospace industry. Because as you know, most of the people switch their career. Very briefly, I won't take much time. in Geetam, Hyderabad campus has a unique place in it, in the sense that aerospace engineering is offered only in Hyderabad, not other two centers. We have three centers, one in Hyderabad, the headquarters is in Visakhapatnam, and we have another center or another college in Bangalore. So we are the only one who offer this unique course. We are very uniquely placed also. As you know, recent past Hyderabad, the Telangana state government is encouraging a lot of investments in the aerospace, and they have already 3 parks are there, aerospace industrial park, of which I think RAJESH earlier company is part of it, and government is still thinking space is not sufficient, we want to bring in one more aerospace park. So in that sense, we are very uniquely placed. Our students are really good opportunities here. So in that sense, I think the way back in 2011, they started aerospace. No, initially it was called aeronautical engineering. Then I think in 2015 they renamed as aerospace engineering. So we have a good team of faculties here, expertise in aerodynamics, propulsion, space dynamics, and recently we added a few in the structures department side. So we have a good mix of different expertise here. We also looking into improving our lab capabilities here. As you all know, recently Geetam is investing a lot on improving the infrastructure. So aerospace is one in leading in those new investments, giving a good experience to the students on hands-on experiments and other things. So, and the main objective of our thing is to give the basic knowledge on engineering, especially in the aerospace field. So the course curriculum are designed in such a way that these people at least have the basic knowledge on various core areas like aerodynamics, structures, propulsion, a little bit on avionics, a little bit on space dynamics, etc. So the aim is to broaden the scope as well as motivate them to get into some of the good universities like Uday to continue pursue their masters or get into good R&D or different type of industries like Sweta here. So I think with that, this is kind of a little brief introduction about aerospace department. We are still expanding. A lot of investments are coming through. Recently, we also got about 30 plus lakhs for investments in research labs. So we are looking forward to more investments. So yeah, so it's a great place to be a student as well as a teacher, having me as a good experience here, having spent more than 2.5 decades in industry. Now spending time with kids is a very different experience, and I'm enjoying it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ravi. And just for the audience, Dr. Ravi comes from a rich background. He is from IIT Kanpur, did his MTech and PhD there, worked with industry for several years. He was with DuPont, currently also from his industry stint at Nanospan, where he was back into academia, as he mentioned. And there are a lot of new developments that I'll definitely request Dr. Ananth to touch upon later. But right now, I think it's time for us to launch into the talk. Let me take a quick couple of minutes to introduce our 3 external panelists. Gives me great pleasure to welcome Rajesh JAGTAP ji to this event. Rajesh ji is Assistant Vice President of Operations at Reliance Composites. Spent long years in industry, in the aerospace industry. Before this, he was with the Tata Lockheed Martin Aerospace. Just one second. I think it's TLMAL. So yeah, that's Tata Lockheed Martin. And he was primarily responsible for the role of development of metal bonding and the advanced composite manufacturing facility and the developments at TLMAL, and been closely associated with projects like the C-130 empennage, the Boeing attack helicopter AH-64, and also the LM-100J bulk fuel tank. has rich experience in industry. Thank you so much for taking time out today and joining us on the panel, sir. Welcome to this interaction, Rajesh. Rajesh, can you hear us?
Rajesh, I think he is muted.
Rajesh, are you there?
You want me to give him a call?
Yeah, I think we'll do that. In the meantime, Rajesh, welcome. If you can hear me.
Yeah, so let me just log out from one of the system because it is not audible from one area. I just log from another area. Now I am audible?
Yes, you
Yes,
are.
yeah.
Okay, because as it was power off, my laptop connection has gone and I had to movies the outside way. So nobody is alive.
No, can imagine.
And thanks to Ravi also for connecting me to the Geetam and inviting me onto these talks. And in fact, I was also keen in such of the activities where I will always be exploring and supporting new generations into this situation where our technology and new requirements in our area will always help them. And what about the industrial? Because whenever we are into the college, we did not got that expertise from any other.
Absolutely.
We made our footsteps into the industries with our own efforts. So in that case, there should be some person who will be definitely guiding to the next generations. So you are already doing that work as a part of the university, and we are giving a little support in that
Absolutely.
case.
Wanted to thank you so much for taking the time out and being here, sir. So welcome to the panel.
Yeah.
And let me quickly introduce our other two panelists also, who are also alumni. We also have with us here Sweta Dwivedi. She's from Geetam Aerospace. She's an alumni of the 2015 batch. Also has a long stint in industry. In fact, she was a manufacturing engineer also at Tata Lockheed Martin, where Rajesh JAGTAP sir was working earlier. Worked with Tata Advanced Systems, and of course, she's currently pursuing her master's in mechanical at the University of Ottawa in Canada. So, Sweta, great pleasure to have you on this panel. Welcome back to Geetam.
Thank you very much. It's all my pleasure.
Great. And our third panelist for today is Uday. Uday is closest home in that sense. So he's just recently become an alumni. He's from the 2021 batch, and he's currently pursuing his MS in astronautical engineering at the University of Southern California. So Uday, welcome back again. Perhaps maybe for the 2021 batch, given that, the last 2 years have been a little bit, last year and a half in your case, now 2 years that we're talking about, COVID, lockdowns, online, etc. Maybe it's a little bit of a return. Otherwise, it would have been, just another day at Geetam. But welcome back, Uday.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm happy to have this opportunity to express myself here. And especially the 31 lakh investment that Ravi sir spoke about really excites me for the future opportunities.
Oh, we'll definitely like to hear more about that for sure. Also, I notice your background looks very Houston. We don't have any problems kind of setup. So that really sets the tone in a brilliant way. Looking forward to hearing from all of you. All right. So before we begin, I just want to acknowledge, that it's a pleasure to have Professor Srinivas, HOD of Mechanical, also here. He's also present with us. So I think this is honestly a gathering of a lot of like-minded folks. And to kick off the things, I'd like to bring in Rajesh ji on his insights. Can he share us, some insights of his journey in this field in industry, his experience in industry, and any opening remarks on, what is industry looking for from aerospace graduates per se? Rajesh ji, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Bhattacharya. So just to give a brief, because I will not take much more insight, because if I start talking, it will be of many of the industries. So as like everybody, aerospace engineering, I am a mechanical engineer, but I turned into the aerospace engineer when I got first opportunity to work with HAL. So that was engine division where I was working in Koraput, Orissa. First assignment. So there, aerospace journey has started, and after aerospace, I went to, because
Voice is
somewhere I
breaking.
was feeling that I should be
Rajesh,
referent.
your audio is breaking up. Maybe if you switch off your video, it
Then
might-
I'll have to switch it.
please, sir.
Now it is clear.
Oh, this is much better. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So HL, then it should not be a one-off-one area. I had explored the HL possibilities, and then after HL, I went to L&T. So L&T was the area where entire grooming has been happened in all areas of work, where I was able to work with entire departments and take up as an independent charge for project management, product development, manufacturing, and production also, and facility setup. So then entire aerospace, and it turns into the after aerospace also composite also, into journey. So composite manufacturing become one of the added feather in my cap in that area from that scenario. After L&T, I just joined Tata as the first assignment with Tata Boeing, which was earlier entity of Tata Motors, which was called TAL Manufacturing Solutions Limited. And there I work for the ACFB beam. Normally, we are flying in 787-9, where we are sitting that beams are now getting made in India. And most of this new generation flyers from 2016, 15 to as on date, entire beam supply is from India to this. So hats off to that Nagpur plant. Now they ramp it up, and presently, although there is a smaller slowdown into the Boeing, but the entire frame is supported by Nagpur plant. And Nagpur plant has now come under TASL. So that is another history. I will come to that. After TASL, I went to Kineco Command Composites India Limited, which was having a part for the Bell helicopter, which has just got to the Tata and Kineco Command. I worked there for nearly a year and then shifted to Mahindra Defense Naval System, where in addition to aerospace, defense also started. And here we were working for the most of the ADE, DRDO, DRDL, ARD projects, where we had to work mostly for the nation. So in addition to the aerospace, we had for nation also. And after 2017, I got the opportunity to work with the Tata Martin, and I was very much energetic to work JVs like Lockheed Martin and Tata. And there we started the facilities for this composites, and aerospace was already there. And my main focus area was mostly into the composite in that case. And recently in October 2020, I shifted to Reliance, where I can say this facility in composite is a hub. Here, entire composite is in one place. We have resin manufacturing, we have textile fabric, we have wind blade, we have mass transportation industries, we have pultrusion industries, we have fabrication. So this is all set of work. So going through this a short history, whenever I interacted with the newcomers, because it was a part of GETs always. And if I say any industry, the first preference goes to GET. We always treat GET as a gem of our companies. And the process of inducting GET is an expectation. That's why it becomes always high, and the responsibility to induct GET. And once GETs are on board, whether it is GETs or MTs or any new trainees directly from to the campus, it's a dual responsibility for both of them to fulfill from the both sides. So our expectations from the industries and knowledge for to be fulfilled set of questions, because there is whether it Mahindra, whether it is L&T, we always have a frame of reference and a certain set of questions where we were evaluating the persons. So from that point of view, instead of going more into the technical, the things becomes a behavioral at that stage, because we expect when we are approaching the colleges like GTAM or the NITs or any other, we always expect the people are fully competent in their technical zones. But in addition to technical, what we need is how they are placed with team building, how they are placed with the way they are approaching the positive attitude. So this behavioral aspect also came into the mind whenever we are interviewing, because I can say I was part of both the sides. So being worked for the 7 industries, I was an interviewer also, and I gave a lot of interviews also. So both the sides, if I analyze, it's always more onto how you present yourself. It is implied that you have the technical know-how once you are from college. It is aeronautical engineering, aerospace engineering, mechanical engineering, electronics, telecommunication, any sort of degree. The person on that side of the table always expect that you have the know-how of your subject. And that know-how, nobody is going to go into the deep unless until some questions are popped up. The questions come mostly onto your other side of your technicals, how you are in society, how you deal with the situation, how you tackles the situation, and how you handle the problems. So these are certain set of attributes normally we test during this, and I can go for a long, but we'll have to go for the short next round of our my colleague also.
I think you have tantalizingly placed it. I'm sure our student audience will have plenty to ask. The way you framed it and where you left it, with your expertise as an interviewer and having been interviewed, I think that sets up the moment for a lot of questions. Maybe one quick question and quick reaction before I move to Sweta to take her in and move ahead with the conversation, Rajesh ji. Why is this, of all times, an exciting time to be an aerospace student and in the aerospace industry? If I can ask you, because when you're opening, I think you gave a glimpse of that. I would love to hear a quick reaction on that before I move to Sweta.
One more time, because I just lost your word in between.
So why is this an exciting time to be an aerospace student and to be in the aerospace industry?
I will be definitely happy to be in that scenario, because I am a mechanical engineer, but I turned into the aerospace when I started working with the HL. And once you enter into that scenario, I don't think everybody will get direct platform to enter into the HL. Because at that time, when it was in 1990s and 2000, HL was a mini Navratnas, and aerospace and aeronautical engineering was limited to only IITs. We have only IIT Powai, which was doing aerospace, and Kanpur and Chennai having subjects. So nobody was preferring to go into the aerospace that time. Only specialization was there in aerospace. Nowadays, it has become a general that people are enthusiastic to go into the flying world. So that flying world always encourages any engineers to be into the part of that. And the next generation of entire moving industries is onto the aerospace, where we are moving into the space, satellites, launching the air taxis, the latest one, to the smaller 6-seater to 14-seater aircraft. Aerospace and aeronautical engineering is having a hell lot of future, I can say. That's why it is interesting for industry, it is interesting for the education institutions and the students.
Awesome. So to our student friends out there, you have hot property, and this is the most exciting field to be in. Don't ever forget that. And on that note, let me bring Sweta in. Sweta, you've been a Geetam alum. These are your super juniors in many ways. Tell us a little bit about your experience here at Geetam, and what your journey was like, and what are you looking forward to? Tell us. Right.
Thank you, sir. Firstly, hello to everyone. Firstly, I take pride in saying that I was the first batch of aeronautical engineering at Geetam University. I have seen the department building up from scratch, and today it has some great facilities available. And I remember how excited we used to be when we used to see new equipments coming up in the labs. And also we were the first to move to our new campus. So there were a lot of firsts. So those days shaped me for what I am today. And we had great facility available. Our professors were great, very friendly with us. And as we were a very small batch, we had a very close personal connection with each and every one of them. And we were a batch of only 9 people, and therefore we had a very close connection with all of them. And all the subjects were taught really well. We had very good basics, which were taught to us. And luckily, all of 9 of us got great opportunities. Some of them went for studies, and some of us, like me, we took up jobs. And even I got a campus placement in the core industry, And from there, I learned a lot, worked in different projects, worked for many OEM projects. And finally, after learning those experience, I decided to take up my further studies. So Geetam has played a very important role and it has shaped my future for sure.
Awesome. Great. We'll just come back to you, Sweta. Thanks for sharing your journey. And so you've been from the very first batch. So I think, that's an interesting one. I think even today, the department is, as you were saying, you were a batch of 9. Even today, the department is quite selective. It's a smallish department. Correct me if I'm wrong, Professor Ravi, we are talking about still sub 30, 25, 20, 28 students?
Less than 20.
20.
The current batch, we are about 23, but
20.
otherwise it's less than 20.
So that still persists, and therefore this is a batch that has great exposure to the faculty and deep personal interactions, and certainly I'm quite confident that they will leverage it to make the most of it, as you shared in your journey. Let me bring in Uday now to share his journey. How was your journey here at Geetam? And now that you're at USC, classes there begun. What's the difference, and how has been your experience, and what are your plans going forward?
Yeah, so first of all, very good morning to everybody here. I can see a lot of my faculty members and my juniors here, so I'm just excited. So yeah, although it feels weird, so good morning to you guys and all the distinguished panel here. So my experience has been good at Geetam because all I wanted to do right from when I was 7 years old, I can remember, was aerospace engineering. So I always wanted to do something in this field. And the day when I got into Geetam, so I made a huge plan, a list of plans that I wanted to accomplish in my future life. And Geetam definitely did show me a way ahead. And right now, it's like dream, like just 5 months apart. I was in India and now I'm here doing my astronautical engineering. So it's been really good journey so far.
Awesome. So any tips on, what should your juniors be doing for the next 2, 3, 4 years? What should they be focusing on? How do they build, what are the opportunities they should be looking out for? Any tips that you have straight off the bat, anything from your experience that you'd like to share with the group here?
Yes, absolutely. So the one thing that I've noticed here is most of the students focus a lot on CGPA and the basic scores like GRE, GMAT, or TOEFL, IELTS. They focus a lot on the scores, but not on their profiles. Profiles is the key to cracking big universities. It could be much bigger like MIT and Stanford. They think it's only going to be CGPA that matters, but it's absolutely not. All these universities look at a holistic profile of a student. You have to be good at an all-rounder, basically. You have to be a good all-rounder, and especially they look for individuals who are really good at taking initiatives. They like leaders. They want to groom leaders into their own department, and they want to establish a bigger department from them. So that is what the universities are looking here, especially. So what I observed is like, you need to take part in a lot of projects. It could be with respect to your work or not your work. Just throw yourself into the area and just explore stuff in the undergrad period, because that is the best time where you can explore. I remember my faculty telling me, do a lot of projects, do research papers, work in conferences, present your posters, and a lot of these stuff. Trust me, they do work, because I've seen
and at that time, it seems like a little bit of a distraction. And since it isn't essential, it seems like too much work at times, right?
Yes, absolutely, it does. But then I really feel that we can manage the time. So, because now when I sit back and think a lot about it, I did waste a lot of time, to be honest. So if you can seriously work on it and improve your skills with respect to your department, it does not matter however niche your subject is, like aerospace, you will still land at good jobs. And who knows, you might even end up giving jobs to people in the future.
Awesome. That's a good note to shift the conversation back to Sweta a bit. I think, you took a job, you joined industry straight after your degree here. Like to bring you in and, see, for example, if I'm a student and I'm attending this and I'm thinking to myself, what are the forks that I have in my career? I could take up a job. I could pursue, further education in MS, or I could change tracks altogether, give a competitive exam, get into IAS, UPSC, something of that sort. I could become an entrepreneur, and that's the fork at which, Uday just left it. But I think the predominant choice would probably be, if I can get a good job in the core industry, banking on the technical skills that I've picked up at the department here, that would be probably the number one choice in terms of percentages for sure. So having been someone who's taken that route, any advice to the students here?
Yeah, I agree to that, that there are many routes available for any student coming out of any university. So I personally feel that taking up a job immediately after a bachelor's degree plays a very important role in shaping your career. It gives basically a direction, and it gives us exposure to decide whether we want to be in this direction or we want to change our direction. So personally, when I joined the organization, I did feel some kind of gap in my education and the kind of work I was doing because I was into structures. If you are into design, then you can better relate to the courses which you have learned. But when you move to a manufacturing unit, it's more like a mechanical area. So that points need to be learned. There is a lot of learning cycle, learning procedures, but you meet a lot of people, and we learn a lot through those things. So that is definitely a great route. And many people also choose to directly go for their higher education. I don't have any problem with that. That is also a good opportunity. But I personally feel that taking up a job, that too in a core sector, is very important. It gives you a lot of, it gives you an overview what an industry requires. And along with that, having a great communication skill, you need to polish your communication skill a lot, because when you are into aerospace, you are obviously dealing with US and UK customers, and you need to convince them with your words. So all those skills play a very important role.
Great. I'm going to shift to Rajesh ji back again and take it where he left it. And bringing in what Uday and Sweta just shared. I think you mentioned that the assumption is that as an industry recruiter, the assumption is that the technical skills are in place, but the team building, the attitude skills, those kind of things matter a lot. And I think Uday was talking about how the profile, building the profile, is probably more important than just focusing on the scores and the CGPA. Even Sweta was talking about getting an overview, building yourself. So that learning hunger, that attitude matters so much. And I just wanted to bring you in any advice for students on how they can shift their attitude to get those things right. What should they focus on?
Yeah, so the focus of the student in that case should be first, the curriculum is always better, but inside that, what Sweta has already said, and Uday also, and I also be echoing to that, what we focus is only the academics. So we should not focus on academics, we have to focus on curriculum, and that to extra curriculums also. That will make you the person with the multi-skilling. And what we expect from the operators, that the operator should be multi-skilled in 4 or 5 skills. So that is true for everybody. It's true for me also. It's true for my engineer also, that he has to be multi-skilled. Only the skill levels are different. For an operator, the skill levels will be fitting, welding, riveting, and laminations. But for a graduate engineer, the multi-skilling becomes in terms of his attitude, his terms of his behavior, his terms of team building, his pressure, how he sustains, and of course the communication, whether it is verbal, non-verbal, and written. This all matters. And finally, what is needed is go into the industries, set up your footsteps, make your image, go for the graduation, post-graduation, or eventually if you are directly into the post-graduation, that will also help. Having industrial exposures for minimum 2 to 3 years is always needed, so that you will enter into the master's degree or doctorate also. And then theoretical know-how will not be lost, because as you are continuously into the engineering and job, you may lose the touch of your theoretical knowledges. So that should not lose. You have to pursue your MTech or MS. Now this has become the necessity for the any industry, whether it is automobile, whether it is composite or aerospace, aeronautical. Now, earlier 12th and degree was mandatory. Now, degree and post-graduation has become mandatory. So this is needed. And in addition to that, our managing skill, where now everywhere the people has to focus on program management. Although he is working for one of the section of the department, treat that as a program and manage it with the heart. And most importantly, it is always your interest area. You will perform, or I can say outperform, when it is of your interest area. Your performance will be lesser if it is not interested. In that case, you will have to bring your interest into that. Although you are not interested in industry, you have to show your interest till the time you go into the launch to your interest area, or directly speak to your boss that this is my interest area, can you put me into that? That will always outspoken, and boss will also be happy. The leader will also be happy that my subordinate and my peer is upfront telling his weakness and his strength. So that will always help the student.
Brilliant. I'll just have a quick follow-up question to this one. It's a little bit like, you know, when you're at a buffet, you can taste everything, but the dish you like, you can take more of it on your plate and go deeper into that meal and enjoy yourself better. And in that sense,
Exactly.
you know, one of the things that a good course does is it sets up a very comprehensive buffet, lets you taste a lot of different dishes, and that exposure is part of it. You were mentioning that, you know, as industry is becoming more and more specialized, they're requiring higher degrees, more years of experience in industry. So as a fresher who's in fact in undergrad, you know, the thing is, how do I get this exposure? How do I get this experience? Because I'm a fresher. And one of the things I wanted to ask was, you know, what are the opportunities for internships in industry? What are the areas where internships can be taken? How do students line themselves up for those? I think you touched about, you know, what are the basic attitudinal and, you know, the levers that they need to pull to in order to get these opportunities. But you know, are there such opportunities, you know, in your industry, for instance? Are you looking for interns? I know that, you know, the new education policy and the government is pushing for a much more intense full-time internship experience for students, closer to 5-6 months rather than the current practice across universities, which has been, you know, erratic in terms of it being a 1 month or a 2 month engagement. Any thoughts on those? And are there, you know, any opportunities that you feel that, you know, GTAM students should keep an eye out for and look out for?
Yeah, definitely. So that's an interesting area for everybody, because when I am, or anybody at my positions from any of the corporate industries who are into the aerospace or any other industry, they will definitely go for the campus selections. And campus selections means GETs. When we are taking the graduate engineers, so there is always a scope for direct graduate engineers. And when we enter into the campus, we have always a view in between that we have to get the not so talented, because they will always think of the research, not so lean. We will be mostly, we'll have to groom them for 3 to 4 years. We want a moderate talent, which will be 85 to 95% or 8.5 to 9.5 CGPA. I'm speaking upfront. It may harm to the other people also, but it's a true fact and it has to be opened up. So that is the selection criteria in that way, so that there is a scope for me to groom GETs, so that he will be having that entire management set for all programs. He will be scaled up to the level of his team building. He will be scaled up, because this is not expected. This is presented and gated from them. We always make GETs to go and become and prove a leader in terms of teamwork, in terms of pressure management, in terms of their skills. So these are all enhanced. I will just give you the example of L&T, what we will be doing. Whenever we'll be inducting GETs, no matter which subject it is, whether it is finance or HR also, he was put for 6 months onto the floor without fail. Any GETs has to go on floor for 6 months. And why this is? Because you will be learning only on floor. Onto the table where it is, I am HR or I am finance guy also, or I am electronics guy, I will not be limited to the system. Your extracurriculum, your people's management comes only when you are on floor. I got that opportunity that I was on floor, and I have seen finance graduate also onto the floor that time. And now she has rose to the level of CFO. This is only when we have the understanding of the ground. So we make GETs to understand the ground reality first. It's not only expecting that they should become the leader. companies help them to grow as a leader. Every company has their SLP or CAP. It has a different name in different industries. We call it as a CAP. In Tata, there was a SLP, then there was a ELP in L&T. So that is leadership program. And that is all for GETs and management trainees. There is huge scope for graduate engineers also to be a part and become a leader. I have seen, because I can say I have turned on to the many industries, but I have seen the people who started from the first batch now have rose to the greater height into the industries. One of them was my leader, Mr. Atul Kumar Paranspe. And Abhay Paranspe was also the starting batch, who is Tata Lockheed Martin CEO. But Atul Kumar Paranspe was my L&T head. He is now hydrocarbons head in L&T. He has handled solar plants. He joined as a 84 batch GET. So he's still there. So that makes a GET a valuable thing. Now coming to your second question, where interns. As a part of industry, all companies who has a policy, they have to go for the internship for the 3 to 6 months. Normally we prepare as 3. 1 or 2 is not actually the period for internship. So 3 months period and then 6 months period is the best one to go for the internships. And these interns, sometimes we go for 1 year also. Tata has a policy for 1 year, but only because of this couple of years where pandemic has affected, the internship opportunities are not there. Even it is with the Reliance, L&T, Tata, everywhere there has deemed up. But this is the good platform to give the new engineers as a best opportunity to enter into the industry and know how the industry works. And whenever any student gets the opportunity as internship, he don't have to see that I have one department and do that work. Sometimes he may have to do the xeroxing, copying and printing also. So that is the way you are tested there. It's not that you have to do the xeroxing and copying every time, but we get it done from them because it is always how he look at the work. Work is never smaller or upper. It always be enhancing their capabilities. So internship possibilities are always there. And I think it will come up in the coming years for every companies.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajesh, for that. I have a quick question for Uday before, I'll bring in Dr. Anant to share about, some of the new initiatives that are happening at the department. I think on the internship front also, there are some exciting conversations happening. I would love to hear that from Dr. Anand. But Uday, I want to ask you a personal question. Are there any challenges or any experiences at GTAM where, there were some plans that you were unable to implement for various reasons? How did you overcome those? What happened to those plans? You were sharing some experiences. We'd like you to share that with the audience, and maybe there's some learning there. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So I definitely had challenges at GTAM. It's not like I had a very smooth journey there. So the only challenge, or I would say the only key point where our department, especially Department of Aerospace, could grow is they could become more brave. So students, they could become more brave. Like students, like I can tell you about my batch, we had a lot of ideas of building student groups and research teams, which could actually benefit the department as well, which would actually put the department in the eyes of the whole city, Hyderabad. Like if we would have done any very, very innovative and a unique project upfront, and we had investments, if we had investments and if we had the time to put in there, we could have done a lot of stuff. And the only thing that I see is that taking up good student projects, building student groups, and going to different conferences, you're investing in students first, which would actually put higher returns back to the department. That is what I would say, and especially the laboratories as well. We would love to see the flight simulator and all of them back working. So it would definitely be a great opportunity. I think the next couple of years for GTAM Aerospace as a department are going to be really, really crucial, and I can see them growing.
Great. I just want to, at this junction say that, you are alumni of this department. You and Sweta, you're both currently, doing your graduate engineering at reputed universities abroad. And one of the things that GTAM and I'm sure the department is also looking for is deep academic collaboration with departments like the ones that you're studying at currently. So if there are faculty members there who you feel can teach interesting courses of relevance, maybe a discussion with the leadership, the academic leader is here, this is a forum where you can, once I'm going to bring in Dr. Anand to share, what are some of the plans. if you see a sync in what's happening there and what's happening here, and if there are some handshakes that you can make happen, this is an appeal from the Directorate of External Relations and the department that as alumni, there are many ways in which you can help. And certainly, if there are some internships you want to point our students towards, if there are certain activities that you want to happen on the department, please highlight them to us, and we'll try and make it happen. Not every request is actionable. We are all stressed for time and resources, but we are very much open to it, and we are hungry to do more. As you mentioned in your times, if you felt that that was the need of the hour, I think I echo that sentiment and say that that's a great sentiment, and hopefully we'll live up to that. So on that note, let me bring in Dr. Anand. Sir, please do share some of the interesting things that the department is definitely embarking on. That would be something that everyone would be very happy to hear about.
Good morning, first of all. I want to give my background and the reason for which Sri Bharat specifically wanted to develop this particular directorate or center called Aerospace Design and Practice. Okay, I started my career with the DRDO, and when Mr. Rajesh was speaking, I could really see the contrast between what he looks for in a candidate and what a DRDO person looks for in a candidate. No, that's very contrasting. He says he takes for granted the technical prowess of the candidate, and they test only for the overall. In fact, in the DRDO recruitment scenario, this overall thing is not given a damn. Only technical. The questions are all only technical. I can see the reason, because the requirement of an industry is different from the requirement of a research organization like ISRO and DRDO specifically. Reason is, when I say aerospace industry, I call it the aerospace industry when you start from conceptualizing a vehicle, flight vehicle, design the configuration, what should be the length, what should be its capacity, and how it is to be aerodynamically designed, then go for manufacturing, make it fly and things like that. Whereas most of the Indian industries right now are only engaged in manufacture, not design. Manufacture as per somebody else's design, and whether it is Tata's or Larsen and Toubro, because I worked in Larsen and Toubro in the same department, heavy engineering department, where Mr. Rajesh was working after my long stint with the DRDO. So there is a difference. It all depends upon what kind of person you are. If you are a very outgoing person, but very smart and not very interested in technical, not to the extent of, as Rajesh correctly put it very nicely, that if he doesn't look for very high-end technical guys, he wants only people who are, very smart and practical. So that is very correct from his point of view. And for such people, industry offers very good opportunity, number one. Now, when it comes to aerospace design and practice, there are three things that our universities should be focusing on. One is teaching, the quality of the students who are passing out. Number two, research. What kind of research and publications? Third is project. I found there is something in place for teaching. Teaching is something any university has been continuously doing. And research, yes, already there are processes in place, metrics are in place, how to assess the contributions made by each and every faculty in terms of research, but it is projects which require some kind of focus. So right from the day one, I have been focusing only on projects, acquiring projects from mostly DRDO lab based on our contacts. I'll just tell you a few projects that we have been working on so far. Number one is that UAV developed by Aeronautical Development Establishment in Bangalore. They are developing the entire aircraft, right from, as I told you, the configuration, manufacturing, design, everything. For manufacturing, they go out to other companies like Larsen and Toubro and other companies, and they wanted to indigenize the landing gear system. The landing gear system has a lever plus a wheel and brake system. So this wheel and brake were getting imported, remaining things were all indigenously developed. So we thought we'll develop it inside GITAM. We already submitted a proposal to ADE for development of the wheel and brake. Means we are going to develop right from the first principles how the brake connected to a landing gear system is to be designed and developed and manufactured. We are going to make the prototypes and hand over to this way. The students as well as faculty will get direct exposure to the entire gamut of activities, starting from conceptualizing, design, development, testing. It is not only just developing, we have to get tested in the ground before putting it in the underbelly of an aircraft. We have to test it in a machine which will be designed specifically to test this. So this is the activity for which we already bid. Number two, we are also trying to bid for underwater autonomous vehicle. It's called AUV, autonomous underwater vehicle. UAV is unmanned aerial vehicle. So this underwater area vehicle, autonomous vehicle, is right now made for policing our vast seashores as well as sea, so that no foreign powers come and interfere. So there are hundreds and hundreds of such unmanned underwater vehicles will be roaming around. Now they are made of aluminum structure. Now we have to convert them into composite structure. Aluminum may be very light, but composites are still lighter. What the property required for the underwater structure is high Young's modulus. Okay, so we have to choose such a material which will be, when manufactured, will result in an underwater vehicle which is much lighter. And we have made this proposal to NSTL, which is in Vizag, Naval Science and Technology Laboratory. Like that, there are 3-4 laboratories for which we have made proposals. And in fact, I would like to ask Rajesh. First of all, I would like to thank and appreciate the panel, the whoever has taken initiative to bring these people together. Especially Mr. Rajesh has got a vast experience in industry, and he's the one person who can help our department in a big way. I'll tell you why. I was trying to establish a composite center in our GITAM, Hyderabad campus, because composite is the real future for all the aerospace structural components. And but somehow I got discouraged by our Pro VC for a very valid reason. In fact, I was discouraged even by a person from DRDO saying that it's waste, don't do it. But Professor Ravi Sriraman had a different view. He's very firm that it is required because he's coming from industry background. He knows what are the other applications a composite can do. So we would definitely like to take the help from Rajesh about what should we do. We'll make a proposal from his wide experience in the composite industry. We should definitely be benefiting. What kind of facility we should set up, what kind of training our students should get while they are being student in GITA, and in what way such students will be useful for the industry. The tailoring of that composite center within GITAM campus, in what way it should be designed and established, so that anybody who comes for recruiting from outside industry, the moment they see these people have been trained in this composite field in GITAM, in this center, they will definitely be a great asset for the company, and then they will be immediately absorbed. That kind of thing I want to help from Rajesh. So, as I told you, of the three-pronged effort that is required by a university like teaching, research, and project, my center, I assume that it's mostly projects, and we are focusing on the projects.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anand, for sharing that. I think these are exciting times, and I'm sure hopefully there'll be some very productive conversations with Rajesh ji going forward also on the areas that were discussed.
Yes.
Let me briefly now open it up. There are a few questions that are there. Bharadwaj, any particular one that we'll take up right now? Let's open it up for a few questions, and then maybe we'll take about questions for about the next 5-10 minutes, and then maybe
Bhattacharya, before you go to the questions, Anand sir, I will just say that NSTL project, we had done that AUV. I had manufactured in Composite.
I know.
One of the good subject of which is already developed one by my team. I was the part of that team, and it was with Dr. Bhave and NSTL team, and Mahindra was supporting that. So we made that AUV, an autonomous underwater vehicle, but the body, entire engine and all other parts were with the NSTL.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
That's I wanted to add to. Over to you, Mr.
Yeah,
I can see one of the hand was raised for many times, so you can take that question first.
Absolutely. In fact, I was just going to. I think we have a hand was raised by Saurav. Was it?
Yes, sir. It was Saurav. His question is in the chat, though.
Yeah, just flag us. Which one is his question?
Should I read out?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
I have noticed about the importance of external extracurricular part of the discussion. I haven't been that much into academics, but rather into sports and extracurricular activities. I have secured a job with Boeing Aerospace in Canada division with just an insight of CATIA analysis as an employee. How far does it support the upbringing of a student as an employee in foreign markets? Does pure base knowledge support a student growth, or is it social skills supported by subject? Is a question posed by Abhishek Saurav.
Sweta, would you want to, weigh in on that, and then maybe Rajesh ji as well?
Yeah, definitely the technical knowledge what we learn from university is definitely important, but the skill what actually helps in landing a good job here is the networking skills. Especially in Canada here, a lot of jobs come through references. So having a good networking skill and extracurricular activities, it plays a major role in getting job like Abhishek got in such a great OEM like a Boeing. So I would request all the students to please focus on that. Definitely CGPA is important, but don't just keep bothering about that. Explore different activities which happen on the campus. So that will play a key role in your career moving forward.
Also, if I'm allowed to
Please,
put some
Uday,
insights
please.
into this, like it also depends on the job role that you're aiming for. So if you want to be a rocket scientist, for example, why would they be interested in you gaining medals in a badminton court? So
Yeah.
the thing that they're mostly looking for is how well you work in a team, what are your interpersonal skills. When it comes to that point, maybe the extracurricular would work, but it does not completely neglect that you don't need any technical knowledge or any technical experience as such. So I think there has to be a good balance between both of them and the specific job role that you're aiming for.
Rajesh ji, you're on mute, sir.
Just a minute. Yeah. So you got secured job based on to your CATIA curriculum. So that is where you are going to be as a programmer. And Boeing, or whether it is any OEM like Lockheed Martin or Airbus or any foreign companies. So first will always be your core area where you are selected, but you should not limit to that, because CATIA will never give you the elevation to the next level. Or for example, I'm just taking CATIA because you told that CATIA that you have got it in networking. But in addition to the CATIA, you have to explore additional possibilities in itself, CATIA and other platforms, which can be a correlation with that. And parallelly, get onto the acquiring skills related to your present job role. Because if you keep yourself limited to that, you will be only a designer. And if you want to come out of that zone and become the project manager or the project director, you have to go across the table of your skills. So that's from my side.
Thank you,
Very well
Rajesh.
said. Very well said.
I completely agree. Want to acknowledge the presence of Professor Satya Devi, HOD of Aerospace. She's also here in the thing. Thank you to Professor Srinivas from the Mechanical Department and Professor Satya Devi for joining us. But we also have a very special guest here today. We have Dr. Sundarajan Srinivasan, who's been on the panel. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. If you could take a few minutes, maybe a couple of minutes, to address the audience here. And this is a forum that we have started off with the Aerospace Department. Your inputs and your advice to the the forum here, much appreciated, sir. Please, over to you.
Thank you, Arka. In fact, I appreciate the initiative. Really appreciate the initiative. In fact, that's the reason when I came through the information through some channel, I approached you that I would like to join this. Very interesting discussion of bringing this together. Very good initiative. Congratulations. And happy, actually, I'm impressed by Rajesh. In fact, I'm sharing a similar background with Rajesh. Because I was also moved from academic to HAL to DRDL, then set up with L&T, Godrej and all. But I had the opportunity of being mentored by the aerospace engineer, Dr. Kalam, for over 30 years. The questions, the very interesting discussions. In fact, I appreciate Sweta because she's focusing on something which you learn, experience, and then move out for the education. That's a good initiative. At the same time, of course, for us, for many of the students, once you leave the academics, you leave forever, and it's very difficult to come back to the academics. So that type of students, perhaps Uday's approach will be good, because continue with this. And
sir, I think for the benefit of the audience, sorry to interrupt you, but it's a quick couple of minutes to familiarize our audience with who's speaking right now. Sir has been one of the directors of NIT Trichy, responsible for transforming it and taking it into one of the top 10 engineering institutions in the country today. He was also, amongst many plaudits, one of the feted members of the BrahMos development team, somebody who comes from a very rich background in research, academia, and is an advisor to Geetam today. And I think it would be great if you could have some specific couple of pointers of advice to our students in the aerospace department. Any advice that you have for us in how do we move ahead? That would be.
I will reserve my advice. I will interact exclusively with the alumni and the students in a detailed way. In fact, I am taking notes on what is the requirement of because Rajesh point of view, it's a very important for us. And the point I would like to address with Rajesh and maybe a couple of more industries is how do we change our curriculum to be relevant to this? And also whether mechanical, because now in Geetam, we have opened up a new curriculum that, we can take any number of global electives. Yeah. And we have included soft skills as a 4-year course.
So just to share with you, sir, with precisely that idea, when Bharadwaj was putting this panel together, we reached out, I think Dr. Anant and Professor Satya Devi and all, my thanks to them for putting this panel together, but also my thanks to them for reaching out to Professor Srinivas from the mechanical department, who's also here. The invitations have been shared. Likewise, when we are working on similar programs in the mechanical department, we will share this and make it a more cross-departmental thing. It's not flavored or focused on a department. The idea is to collaborate, across and build, industry. I think, the idea is that we need a consortiums of industries to provide many opportunities, which students with the right set of interests and, the right set of, shall we say, aptitude can align themselves and take a flavor and shot at internships and various things, get exposed, and then pick careers as per their exposure tells them that they're good at these things, or they really catch the bug of what they're doing. So that was the idea.
In fact, Hyderabad is the best place when you compare to other institutes like MIT at Chennai or IIC at Bangalore or so many other places, aerospace. Hyderabad is having more than 70 industries exclusively for aerospace. And then when you are talking about the aerospace park, it is something which is which is unique in the country, which already, they started exporting in a big way. Similarly, for composites, all the small scale industries have opened up a cluster, and there is an association in Hyderabad for all the composite industries to come together. Definitely, you may get in touch with Professor Vel Murugan at IIT Madras or Dr. Raja Singh. Currently, he's heading the BrahMos. He's already the board member for you. And perhaps you could visit number of places. That is one. And online, right now, the disruption caused by the pandemic, you can use it. The challenge you can convert into opportunity, because the online is giving you a lot of opportunity. So don't sleep. Continuously be online. Whether even if the offline thing has started, you continuously be online, and then you can get into this. Sweta is trying to say something. I think so through the facial expression. No, okay. That's what I wanted to say. I will interact with them.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
We're on the hour, Sweta. Definitely will bring you into the conversation. Bharadwaj, I think we have time for one more question, maybe. And then if it is okay with the panel, I'd request them to stay behind after we conclude the session for another 5 minutes or so, just 5 minutes more, and then we'll wrap it up. Yeah, Bharadwaj.
So one more question posed by Funny Raghava. He says, are there any citizenship hurdles to get placed in US or any country in abroad in that sense? To get placed in the aerospace industry, are there any citizenship hurdles right after masters? So I request Sweta or Uday to answer that question.
Sweta, you could go first.
Yeah. So I do not really know exactly about the USA. I've heard that there are some hurdles, but I can definitely say there's no such problem with Canada because it's an immigration friendly country. So here there are no such hurdles, and maybe Uday can answer about USA point of view.
Yeah, when the point comes to USA, it is definitely true that you need a citizenship to work in the big aerospace industries like NASA, SpaceX, or anything. You can name it. Even the startups are now just going into the documentation of Department of Space of US. So there are not a lot of opportunities. But what I can say is that if you are really into research, if you want to extend your master's into a PhD or grasp a lot of experience and work in different laboratories and student groups here in the United States, with an experience point of view, this is the best place to be, especially in the space industry. And definitely you can come back to your own country, and why serve US when I can go back to India and improve my Indian space market. Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Couple of good points there. Yeah, Ravi sir, please.
Yeah, I was about to touch upon the last point that Uday mentioned. Yes, when there's a lot of opportunities in India, especially in Hyderabad, why stay in US? Okay, so I spent a couple of years in US and other countries. Finally, I decided to come back here while opportunities are wide open and you can serve for your country. Why not here? So I just want to acknowledge that point. That's it.
Brilliant.
Just one more point.
Sorry, sir, please
regarding the opportunities in aerospace industries in US. Yes, NASA you cannot join, but Boeing and other companies you still can join, but you will not be doing a highly confidential work. You will be doing. You still can join Boeing, but it will not be like a futuristic projects. You will be doing something secondary or tertiary type of work. So. Just want to clarify.
You will not be allowed to be onto the classified projects.
Yeah.
One word.
Yeah, I just wanted to react. You know, we were having a similar panel with the electronics and EEC department, where we were discussing briefly about the semiconductor manufacturing thing and how India is now we have government has initiated something to really take up manufacturing. We know that India has strengths in the design space. But not so much in manufacturing at all, where China, Taiwan, and America are far ahead, and even America has probably dropped the ball. In the similar vein, I think, when it comes to aerospace, like I think this question of citizenship brought up an interesting thing where even Rajesh was mentioning. There is now an indigenization and a lot of defense projects that are coming into India, and this is an exciting space. So, there are a lot of opportunities here. And some of them are very, very rewarding and lucrative careers right here in India. So that's definitely something that's an opportunity that exists. And, I think as students, definitely keep your eyes and ears open for that.
I have a suggestion. Please excuse me, because don't worry about this. Yeah. Don't worry about this. Definitely going abroad and working in the departments over there is going to give a different background and different type of approach. You'll become a global person. Number two, if you're so much worried about aerospace engineering, you keep your interest alive and move to other engineering, other aspects, other engineering aspects, because all are interdisciplinary. After 2-3 years, it's going to be engineering without border. So get into something else, which is, there are plenty of opportunities on this. And if you see, for the design person, somebody is asking the question, the appropriate thing he can try in Netherlands, the Deaf Institute, that is a leading institute in the design. And similarly, they can go to Ahmedabad and join the product design group and all. But don't worry about the career future in a long way today, because there is no long-term planning as on now, with the disruption happening very frequently. Go ahead, and if you are getting an opportunity to, getting an admission in US university, whether in Canada or in US or in UK. UK is a problem area, but UK is a very good aerospace side. And Netherlands, it's good. Please go ahead if you're interested.
I have one last piece of, Geetam departmental trivia kind of a thing to share. Bring in Sweta, and then maybe we can close it. Sweta, your father, Professor Dwivedi, was one of the people who helped start off GASA, which is the Geetam Aerospace Students Association. So, I wanted to, take your views on, what's been the insights of that club, what have been the experiences there. What is your advice on, these kind of activities that JSA has been taking up? And maybe with your reaction to that, we'll go around with the panel quickly, and then we'll close this.
So when I was there in Geetam, even though we were the first batch, we had lot of conferences and lot of aero modeling happening. In fact, we made lot of aircraft models, and we made some ornithopters, and we took part in many competitions at NITs also. So the club was very active, and I'm not in very much touch with it right now, but I hope the same is going on. It creates a interest in student, which is very important when we are working in aerospace, because everything is not very accessible, not like mechanical, not like cars, when we can just go and experience it. Not everybody can go and experience a flight and touch a flight. So that kind of small activities creates a very interesting environment in the universities, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope other students are enjoying and learning from that as well.
So to our student friends, I think the message from the alumni is very clear. Reach out to them. They are looking and waiting to hear from your clubs and activities like this. I'm sure they would be more than happy to help. Thank you so much to all our external panelists and our esteemed, academic leaders for having joined us. Thanks to all our student friends for also making it. I hope it was good fun, some insights. You can reach out to us if you want to connect with our panelists. I would recommend, reach out to them on LinkedIn. They've taken out the time here. They would be more than happy to interact with you all. Do reach out to them with your queries. We've taken a note of some of the questions that have come up here, and some of the queries that are here. We'll take it to the panel as well. And thank you all for joining. This is the first of many such. My thanks to the Aerospace Department for organizing this. And Bharadwaj, maybe we wrap it up with a quick word of thanks from you.
I would just like to add one point.
Please, sir. Please, sir.
I was speaking to one Rajkumar Pant of IIT Bombay. He belongs to Aerospace Department in IIT Bombay. I asked him how many students join Aerospace BTech every year. He says about 80 to 90, compared to about 20 plus in Geetam. And I asked him how many of them really enter aerospace industry. He said hardly 5-6%. Means 90-95% of them, even though they do a BTech in aerospace, they don't go into aerospace industry later on. So it just because a person has joined aerospace industry doesn't mean that he has to enter this alone. Let him keep his mind open, let him follow his heart. It can be any field. But of course, as Sweta rightly said, she very nicely summed up her entering into manufacturing industry. She's really understood herself well. And she went into aerospace manufacturing, and she now continues her MS program in manufacturing. So one should be open, and opportunities available are very limited unless we create our own opportunity. We have to develop a lot of startups which manufacture unmanned aerial vehicles, especially for the benefit of agricultural programs. A lot of things, there are many applications. We'll take it up a little later, but we should encourage entrepreneurship in aerospace, aeronautical, if not aerospace. Space is a little distant for a country like ours, but definitely aeronautical, we can take a lot of lead in encouraging entrepreneurship.
Thank you, Dr. Anand. Thank you to all the guests.
1 minute for me. Yeah,
Please,
so what Mr. Anand was saying, that also I'll have to echo, because if we are there only to search for the job, we have to listen to our heart and go into that. But job is not only the option, because finally what we all will be liking, that why should not create a scenario where we will be able to provide the jobs to others. So be thinking of entrepreneurship also. So that gives a smaller startups, because if you have heard of E-Plane, if you have heard of Agnikul, if you'd heard of one of the Hyderabad companies which has just started in rocket propulsions, in a 2 to 3 years, they have become 100 crore entity.
Yep.
They are all IIT graduates. And so that will be the next food for thought for this engineering generations from my side.
That is very exciting input, Rajesh ji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rajesh ji, Sweta, Uday. Thanks for your time. Thanks to all our panelists for being here. Thanks to the students for joining us. We'll have many more such events, and looking forward to many such events. Thank you. Thank you. It's been exciting, and we'll keep this continuing.
Before that, before everybody leaves, we have a breakout session after this of all. for
Yeah,
the-
we'll just take 5 minutes more. Request the panelists to stay behind. Thanks to our
Also-
students.
Yeah,
Professor,
thank-
I think the mechanical HOD and aero
Yes,
HOD
yes.
are there.
Srinivas sir, and if you could please stay behind, sir.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, every panelist who took their time in their busy schedule and came here to the session. Although it gave a real good experience of meeting all my alumni, all my super seniors and seniors. Thanks to Ravi sir who gave me the contact of Mr. Rajesh ji, who helped me connect with many industrial leaders. Although we planned of having 2 industrial leaders, but due to many different situations, we couldn't have them here. But we'll definitely have more sessions. Thank you, Arka sir, for taking me into DoER first of all, and then giving me this wonderful platform to showcase, to be part of such good entity with a lot of great exposure. And I feel privileged to having made this event success. And then a final note, that is, thank you everybody for here. We'll be staying in touch forever till Geeta.
Before we close, I just want to acknowledge Professor Satya Prasad. He couldn't be here. You know that there is a little bit of a strain going around in the middle of the third wave, and he wasn't able to make it today. But
He's here. He's here.
immensely contributed. He's there. Oh,
He's here. Yeah.
He's there.
Sir, thank you for all the efforts and for making this happen in many ways. So thank you for all the help.
Satya Prasad sir is a host now. 1 second, I think he can speak now. Satya Prasad sir, are you able to unmute yourself? Yeah, he told me he's at the hospital though. All right.
Oh, that's okay.
Thank you, Satya Prasad sir, and thanks to everybody and honorable guests who took their time and attended this event. And